How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I wanted to do a video just a little bit more laid back than usual, just on, some personal questions, maybe some personal finance questions. I was gearing it more towards personal questions and personal finance, not like stock-oriented ones, but I have been getting some of those, so I'll probably answer some of that too. I think I'm going to do this a little bit more often so you guys can see behind the scenes a little bit, see more of my personality, I guess, or get to know me a little bit better. I'm going to sit back, crack a beer. This is on Friday afternoon. We are actually seeing a little bit of a recovery in the market, and I'll be honest, I had a video that was on my income from last month, and I feel like it's a little bit gauche right now, or maybe just not the best timing. If you guys want to see that though this weekend, let me know down in the comments because I will post it. I just felt like it wasn't very good timing on that. After such a bloody week, I don't want to be talking about how much money I make. And I was very clear that wasn't a flex or anything like that. But the timing was not right, I don't think. And I also want to say too, I have a portfolio video coming out tomorrow. But I filmed it a few days ago because I'm going to be busy this weekend. So I filmed it a few days ago. I've been adding a lot since then, so just keep that in mind. This is my portfolio from Tuesday or something, and I've been buying so much throughout the week, so I might have to make another one. I don't have the time to re-record it, and the market's so volatile. By the time that I re-record it, who knows? The whole portfolio could be down another 4 or 5%. So just keep that in mind. But let's get started here. Hopefully you guys are sitting back either with, a coffee, depending on what coast you're on, or, water or a beer or something. We need something after this week. And I'm having a Merry Monkey Ale. I don't know, it's pretty spicy. It's from Christmas. So, okay, so pineapple pizza, overrated or underrated? I thought it was completely overrated up until this year. I've been getting pepperoni, pineapple, and banana pepper, and that's surprisingly good. It's sweet, it's spicy, and it's got meat on it. I don't know. I feel like it's so good. What's the end goal, Sam? You still plan, or do you plan on doing YouTube forever? I don't know. So I guess, I see a lot of people that are in the YouTube space now in finance that are way past where they're financially independent, and they just like doing YouTube, and I'm the same way, I think. That being said, though, I could see myself not doing daily videos forever, because that's just kind of a grind. And maybe I'll do daily videos, but not multiple times a day or something, or maybe on the weekends I'll just not do videos or something. Maybe more like this, right, where it's less on individual stocks down the road. But I want to keep on scaling, and I want to keep on giving people as much value as possible. So maybe down the line, I scale back a little bit, because honestly, I'm doing a lot right now. They're long hours. So maybe I'll scale back a little bit further down the line. But I think pretty much what I'm doing now is what I'll be doing here for a couple years maybe. How much money do you aim to make, or how much money do you aim for to make to have enough and put all passive and stop working, if that's even your goal? So with that, I'll be honest, I still live at home with my parents. I'm in the process of bidding for a home at the time of this recording. I'm offering more than the house is worth in cash. So hopefully that goes through. I have to pay for it in cash because I can't get a loan because I don't have a W-2 job. So unfortunately, I'm buying the dip a lot, but a lot of my money is going towards this house. But I'll be honest, I don't know how much I'll spend a year. I don't imagine it will be that excessive, because my car has $5,000 left on the loan, or $10,000 or something. My girlfriend's car, she'll probably have to get a new one here soon. But we'll have both of those. We'll pay for them in cash. We'll have the house that's paid for in cash. I'll probably get a mortgage a year from now when I can get one through the bank after I have 2 years tax returns. But I'd say 1 to 2 million is probably enough. So I might hit that in the next 2 or 3 years. And the income video will probably give you a better handle for that. I don't know whether I want to put that out. But yeah, I think that something like that could be very possible. So I mean, if you look at like BlockFi, shout out to BlockFi, there's a link down below. They pay 8.6% APY on their stablecoin. I don't know if they'll do this forever. It's subject to change. But if you look at that and you have $1 million in that, it pays 86 grand a year. You have to pay taxes on that, but you wouldn't really have to pay that much in taxes because if that was your only income. That being said, I feel like what I'm doing now pays so well that I don't think I'd get out of it completely or anything like that. What's your favorite TV show? Teo says, that's tough. I go from TV show to TV show. I pretty much just watch on Netflix, but I liked Game of Thrones a lot, but that's obviously done. I like a lot of like Blacklist. I like Dexter. I like those anti-hero shows, but I watched all those already. Some stuff that I've been watching more recently, I like, honestly, New Girl is really funny. It's similar to a lot of those other like, it's not rom-com at all. I was about to say that wrong. It's very similar to a lot of the other sitcoms. I like The Office a lot. I like Parks and Rec a lot. Those are kind of similar. They're in that same space. I've been watching Survivor a lot though with Megan, and we've been watching seasons of that, and that's really good. I thought it was like a show that you just sat down and I thought it was like a game show or something, or it was scripted, but it's not scripted. So I like that a lot. That's a good show. They have like 40 seasons too, so I'll pretty much never be done with it. Okay. Han says, would you explain how to handle trading with margin in the time that the market is dropping like today? I'm sure that a lot of people also have margin involved. So I answered this actually kind of in another video today that I recorded today and put up on Friday. So with margin, it's tough. I don't use margin. Honestly, now would be a great time, I think, to get into margin and start buying some of these specs for around $10. And of course, that's risky, so be careful with that, with the margin and everything. But honestly, I think trimming a little bit right now, like I'm not selling out my stocks at all, but I don't have any margin. But making calls and shaving off some stocks would make sense, I think, right now, if you have margin, so that way you don't get margin called and have to sell out of positions that you have really high conviction in. So maybe biting the bullet, realizing that it's not the best time to do this, but you might have to, and it's smarter to make the decision for yourself. I don't know all the numbers broken down. It's probably different depending on how much margin you have, what stocks you have, all that kind of stuff. I don't know when they margin call necessarily either, so it's probably different for everyone, but I think that's my general idea. Okay, so Ian J says, that's a good question, one that I would like to know the answer from Sam. For my case, I added cash just to get me out of the negative and sold some of my positions. Yeah, so that's a good option. How long have you been investing in the market, and what have you got interested? And what got you interested? Sorry, geez. It's been a long day in the market, apparently. So I got really interested in the stock market my senior year of college, which was 3 years ago now. Geez, 3 years ago? Yeah, 3. I was going to be a doctor. I had taken all the classes, done well in all the classes, then realized I didn't want to take 4 more years of classes. And I graduated, and I realized before that I needed to get into something else. I needed to learn about investing if I wasn't going to be making $200,000 a year coming out of med school. So I got really interested into personal finance. I read a lot of books. Like I read a 600-page book by Tony Robbins in like, I want to say a couple weeks, like 10 days or something. I was reading like 60 pages a day for a while. I was just reading for hours at a time. And it was so interesting to me. I was more interested in personal finance than like stock market investing at that point, like just index fund investing, different stuff like that. But then I got interested in individual stocks last year during the market crash, and I started investing in individual stocks then, but I had been investing for several years before that in index funds and in certain stocks here and there, but not really anything like I'm doing now. So that covers all the questions here, but I also posted it in my Discord or on my Patreon. So in case you guys want, there is a link to my Patreon down below. You can check that out. Sometimes I do stuff like this, but most of the time it's me telling people what I'm buying and selling, what I'm seeing in the market, my thoughts on different things that come up. But we'll go through them here. Then I also have some from Instagram too. So suggestion, please do not take a margin loan if you don't have enough experience. Yeah, so that's a good call. How to stomach losing everything? I lost all my gains plus some original investment. So I'll be honest, like some of my stocks are falling back down significantly to like November lows, right? So we're starting to see a little bit of a turn, but I think you have to realize if you've done a good job until this point, your stocks are still the same companies that you were buying 2 months ago. They like the fundamentals haven't changed on the company, or I shouldn't say that. The company itself hasn't changed. It's just selling for cheaper right now. So that's one thing to keep in mind. In terms of the S&P 500, take a look at VOO. What price do you think makes sense to get back in? So I never sold VOO. I hold it, but I'd be buying it now on the way down. If you're an index fund investor, I would be buying it all the way down. Dollar cost averaging is the best way to go on index funds, I think. Cicero gamer, Sicario. I always mess up his name every single time. He tells me how to say it. I have one. Do you know any pre/post market trading platforms to use here in the UK at all? I get this question a lot. And honestly, I don't know about UK trading platforms. I know there's Trading 212. I'm assuming Fidelity has brokerage accounts over there. I don't know why, but a lot of people can't get pre-market and post-market over there. A lot of people can't get it outside the US, honestly. Now, there is a link down there to WeBull where they allow you to trade pre-market and post-market, but that's for the US. So if you're in the US and you want to trade before the market opens, you see some opportunity, you can check out that link, just deposit $100 and get some free stock. But I'm not sure about the UK. I apologize. Maybe that's something I should do research in, but I get a question every week or 2 or 3 weeks, and I just don't have any exposure to the UK stock market or their trading platforms. Selling on green days and buying on red days, ? Yeah. So I know some people do this. I don't sell generally. I trim positions here and there, but like DMTK, I sold part of this week because it had been valued up so much. It had gone up like 70% since I bought it, and I trimmed a little bit because it had moved so much. I figured, okay, if it keeps falling, that's like if the market keeps on falling, that stock is going to keep on falling. And then it fell 33% after that. So, yeah, I think it depends on the situation. Like that, I got out of something that's a little bit higher risk in my opinion, but I like buying on red days. I love buying on red days, especially when some of these SPACs are hitting that $10 mark. VOOG, which holds Amazon, Google, Shopify, what would be a good entry point? Probably now. Again, like we're hitting really low lows. For example, Square got down to 192 as the lowest we've seen it in 3 or 4 months. How do you deal with your emotions during times like this? What do you consider when you take a decision that would affect your strategy? Yeah, so I think it pretty much comes back to like what I said. Like if you did due diligence, if you realize the risk, like some of these stocks are at lows that they can't go past really, like the SPACs. You're not going to see SFTW pre-merger go down to $8. So that should help you feel a little bit better. Also, just know that like this just puts us back a couple months for a lot of these stocks. Now, if you invested in the meantime and you're seeing like 30, 40, 50% losses, like maybe this is just a good time to realize that for the future. Like if you're putting all your money in penny stocks, which I don't do by any means, but if you're doing that, maybe it's better for you to know now that that's probably not a good strategy going into the future. And I try to be very clear in my videos that I don't think penny stocks should be a large part of your portfolio, but it's good to get into every once in a while if you have high conviction. But this might just be a good thing for you to remember for the future. Like this is a couple week dip. We see these every once in a while. I would just realize that they're the same companies you bought in before. It's not like all these companies are now losing like assets or anything. It's not like, oh, the value of the company was $1 billion. Now it's 500 million. And now their cash is cut in half. Their customers are cut in half. Like it's the same company. What's a good percentage of growth dividend penny stocks that you should have in your portfolio? Okay, so I'm guessing you're saying like growth stocks, dividend stocks, or penny stocks. I think it depends on you and your goals, obviously. For me, I have a dividend portfolio. I just add $100 a week and just keep on buying. I don't care what it does. I'm just I mean, of course I care, but I'm just adding to it consistently. Penny stocks, I'd say max 10%, but I wouldn't even do that. And remember, like as these companies do well, they're going to get out penny stock range. Now, BNGO was at like $13 and it's almost at penny stock range again. But I'd say like 5%. I know some people say, no, that's way too low. But honestly, I'm not that risky. I'd keep mine around 5%. Like that seems like a pretty good number to me. Growth stocks, I'd say if you're not retiring here in the next 2 or 3 years, growth stocks are probably the way to go. And even if you are retiring in the next 2 or 3 years, like they have their benefit if you're a high income earner so that you don't have to pay taxes on the dividends here before you retire. So I'd say the majority should probably go into growth stocks, unless you're looking for dividend plays, and then you can grow your income through dividends too, which is great. But yeah, I don't know if I explained that the best, but I think touching on put options on on this market would help people. So I don't do options. I don't do put options, call options, or anything like that. Correction or crash. For at least 3 days, the market keeps on falling almost 25 to 30% down in almost every stock. Yeah, so obviously some stocks aren't going down that much because the indexes are at like -2% a day, -3%, -1%. But I think we're officially in correction territory. At least NASDAQ is. I'm not sure about the other ones. And then a lot of the high growth plays, a lot of the ones that have been moving up so much, a lot of the ARK companies are probably in crash territory now. I think I have to be careful about this, but I think we're pretty much at the lowest that we're going to be on a lot of these companies because we can't go much lower in a lot of these SPACs. And I think so many people will see so much potential in these companies that they will jump back in. Now, I explained a little bit more in my video yesterday, questions from Patreon, that video, and you might want to watch that one too. Sometimes I hold a stock too long, I earn some money, I don't sell it, and it becomes a loss. Sometimes I sell too early, and it gains a lot more. So what is your plan? It's different for every stock, right? You have to take into account taxes too. Like it's not as simple as do I think something's going to go up or down. There's also a risk reward with taxes. So, of course, I'm not a tax professional or anything like that, but it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different based on your risk tolerance. I buy companies I really believe in, and I'm not just trying to I don't just look at stock twits and try to figure out what stocks are going up and make a quick swing trade most of the time. I really don't do that. I buy stocks that I've researched, looked into, and I hold for long term. So I generally don't trim unless it's something like if BNGO was 50% of my portfolio, I would sell it, right? If something goes up dramatically, I'll be more likely to sell it. And it depends how much I put into it too, right? So if I put 5% of my portfolio in some company and it triples, I'm probably going to trim it. So that's kind of my thinking on that. It took 10K profit off BNGO last week, buying up SFTW and GHVI. BNGO was my biggest play, so was hard to cash out. What do you think in eyes? What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? I think this is probably a good thing. I like GHVI a lot. I like SFTW a lot. The fact that you got a BNGO when it was much higher is obviously good because it's fallen down a lot. So I think that's good. I'm liking the SPACs around the $10 range, $10, $11. Gotta include a bit about your journey over the past year, moving to full-time on YouTube and planning to pay cash for a house. Did it help that you were following the FIRE movement before? I'm sure the story will be an inspiration to a lot of folks. Well, Greg, I appreciate that. Yeah, so the FIRE movement's awesome. I've done a video or two on it. I shouldn't say no one. A lot of people don't watch those videos because they're not about a stock. But in the end, the whole point of investing is to gain financial freedom so you don't have to necessarily work at a job you don't like, trying to impress people with stupid objects that you don't really care about and don't make your life any better. So the FIRE movement is financial independence, retire early. It's an awesome movement. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Mr. Money Mustache. Go check out different financial bloggers. A lot of them are bloggers, honestly, because this was 5-10 years ago that this movement started probably. And it's awesome. Yeah, so a little bit about my journey. I I started making a lot more from YouTube than I did from my day job. And there was risk moving away from my day job, the certainty, but the potential is so much higher. I'm making 30 or 50, 30 to 50 times what I made per month at my old job. So I think having some kind of side hustle that's scalable is massive. I've made so many different businesses. Like I own 3 or 4 businesses right now. I say 3 or 4 because there's a business I set up just to get like bank account bonuses. Like I've always been entrepreneurial, trying to figure out, okay, if I make $20 an hour, how can I make $40 an hour, even if it's just for an hour here and there? So I think looking for extra income, following that movement's a great way to get started. And then if you feel like dabbling in individual stocks, which obviously you do because you're watching my channel, that's great. But in the end, I think it all comes back down to the FIRE movement. And just maybe you're way past that. Maybe you're way past financial independence and you're at $10 million. Then you probably know that this is a good place to start. What's the best way to know when to take profits indicators? So that's another thing that I kind of talked about before. It's going to be different for every single stock, I think. But I mean, you could say something like, okay, whenever it goes up 100%, I'll take money off the board, or I'll start selling off at a tier level. But yeah, I mean, it's never going to be a perfect process. Like if you did that with BNGO, you have missed out on 1,000% gains. So I don't know. You can do that, but there's always going to be plot holes. There are always going to be things that don't work well, and you'll miss out. So if I do the research on a company, I'm going to stand by it, unless I just realize that there's another opportunity that's much better. And that's something that just comes with time, I think. Would love to hear about how tax implications affect things. Like if the stock is up 20%, is it worth selling, or will the taxes negate the benefits? Yeah, so here in the US, of course, advisor, tax professional, but you get taxed on the difference. So let's say you have $10,000 in a stock and it goes up to $20,000. You have $10,000 worth of gains. And if it's short term, like if it's in the first 12 months, it's going to be taxed at your individual tax rate for your income. So if you're taxed at 22% and that's your highest tax bracket, you're going to have $2,200 worth to pay in taxes on that $10,000 gain. Now, that's something that I take into account because my income's high enough now that I lose like 37%. I'm going to be in the highest tax bracket. I'm going to lose 37%. That's something that definitely came into my mind with CCIV, but I try to explain that to you guys when I'm making decisions too. But for the most part, I take that into account, and I'm trying to buy long-term companies. Could we find more about your personal history and what brought you into investing? Yeah, so that's kind of what I think I hit on that before. Appreciate that question though. Thank you for your updates. In the downtrends, do you recommend any tech stocks like these? Yeah, so I think that a lot of companies are on sale right now. These companies, some of them haven't fallen as much. So yeah, you can go for safer plays. I'm going for a little bit riskier plays now because I think they're valued really well. So a lot of the SPACs, like I said. And then last thing, I don't know if there are any questions on this one yet, but I did post this earlier. So let's see. This is on my Instagram. I think we're pretty much done though. Yeah, so no questions. So awesome. So I think we're all done here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to see my video from yesterday where I talk about some other questions that are more stock oriented, you can definitely check out that video here on the end screen. Let me know if you want me to post the video on my income. It's just, again, I think it might be a little bit gauche after the week that we had. A little bit, like I might get some hate on it. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Again, the portfolio video is coming out tomorrow too, but it might be a little bit off because I've been buying so many different shares right now, so many different companies. It's going to be off. But thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.